Yeah, making a video. Did a lighting change. See how it looks. Anyway, yeah, boy, that'll really help. Not. Anyway, let's get back further anyway. Okay, Fred made a video, this morality subject again, which is sort of irritating because, we don't have words separating these different things. I mean, different things in the sense of the right description of reality, like in terms of value statements, which one could argue exist. Like there are some correct way to describe reality and the reality of a circumstance that exists right now. And if we were 10,000 years smarter, or 100,000 years smarter, or a million years smarter, wiser, whatever the right term would be, we'd have a sentences, paragraphs describing what took place. There was a car accident, somebody's killed, and they'll have a way of saying it or explaining what happened and the depth of the tragedy in a way that may be different than we would state it. Somehow we have limited knowledge, so we can't know that better truth because our morality is evolving. Well, this whole evolving thing is a little dangerous just because that's just a description of human morality. I mean, human as a society, human as the winning team. The winning team has become a little more sophisticated, but in a lot of ways we've become ruder and sloppier. You could argue there was past civilizations where they didn't have to worry about thieves and crooks and criminals and graffiti and other kinds of nonsense, and other civilizations where there was rebels and tyranny and oppression. There was lawless societies and law-heavy societies. And in all those societies there were individuals who might have said, hey, it all smells a little stinky. Yeah, it doesn't make much sense to me. I'm going home, and they'd find some cliff to jump off of, or some war to die in, or something else just to acknowledge the fact that they really don't see much point in it. So they could have an understanding of some of the sloppiness of life, maybe even the cavemen. Maybe there was cavemen who found nature disgusting. Maybe they contemplated for a minute, what is going on here? What exactly is my role to play here? Is that all we are, is bugs? Is all we are like these other animals, just caught up in this mechanism, this go, 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 do, 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 for what? Maybe they asked that question. And that's sort of a moral question. It's sort of a value-laden question. What is the function of existence? What are we doing here, and how well are we doing it, and is it sufficiently well enough? And so, yes, as a society, we have outlawed the bullfighting and overt things like dog fighting and chick cockfighting, but we let human beings, fight now in a much bloodier way than we used to allow them to. So there's lots of things, we still doing the war thing, the torture thing, this isn't a real citizen anymore, so now we can torture it thing. So in some ways our morality has, in my opinion, degraded. Our moral consciousness as a species, as a kind, has taken a few steps backward. You'd almost argue that this way we fight wars might be really abhorrent to some colonial warrior or some person from before then, even, a few hundred years ago, with a certain ethic maybe about, collateral damage, and that war should be, the warriors should take care of that. It shouldn't spill over into the civilian population. It should happen on the battlefield. And, men should look each other in the eye as they run them through. Might be all kinds of Marquis of Queensberry rules that they would have that we don't have anymore, and they might find it really rude, disgusting. So their ethics would have changed. Ours would have changed in perhaps a negative way, because we don't have the same kind of honor codes. But yeah, the bottom line question is what I'm going to argue is this has nothing to do with just constant evolution. It doesn't have to do with some question that you just never answer. There is an answer to the questions. The morality is a truth. It sits out there as a truth. There's a truth to it. There was a truth 500 years ago when somebody owned a slave. There was a truth, 50,000 years ago, when humans, drove animals off a cliff. There was a truth to the fact that this harm that was imposed, that has been imposed, didn't have necessarily, perhaps, a justification. Didn't have a compensating value to justify the harm. And that's really the question. Is the value, is the morality? I'm just going to argue. It's sitting out there. It's out there. It's written in logic. It's written in a understanding of how this mechanism works. I'm running on the bathtub. Checking. You can you can pretend that it's somehow that the evolution is just evolving for the sake of it or something. No, it's evolving towards something. It doesn't just get different. It doesn't just change for the sake of change like evolution, just mold to an environment. There's a truth, and the obligation is to find it. And I would argue that we have all the information necessary. We have sufficient evidence now to understand the world. And the reason why it took us this long to acquire this understanding, I think if the ancient Greeks or Athenians or whoever you want to go back to, they would have gotten there much quicker if we didn't have this huge distraction playing with this religious nonsense. And it's just wasted, a couple of thousand years of human history, 4,000 maybe. Have been, we've squandered those years, forcing each other to believe in a silly notion, a fable, a fairy tale. And, now we're sitting at the end of the Industrial Revolution. We've picked apart, science has exponentially done its exponential growth thing. We're on the cusp of all the, not even on the cut, we're past the cut, we're past the peak even, I think, on answering the really big and important questions. And that's what puts us in the real quandary, is that we really don't have an excuse anymore for ignoring what we can see as obvious, and the true implications of the fact that there isn't a God who built it all, and that it is just all based on a replicating molecule and a gladiator war, building toolkits, and that's what we have. It's a toolkit, and one of the tools we had was these perceptual and organizing skills, communication skills that allowed us to organize, to be more successful, blah, blah, blah. And as a consequence of, I can't think of words anymore, as a, the not on purpose consequence, whatever the word for that is, we have this incredible faculty to reason and do logic and to understand and to make these kinds of judgments, to describe the value equations, to describe the nature of the monster in terms of its the real exchange that takes place. And we don't have to be lost in the lies that people have been living by. It's still obvious that the human race is still fooled a lot of the time. It thinks, the 4 people are killed by a bomber are more valuable than the 30 people killed by a accidental explosion. You fall out of the sky in an airplane and die, you're somehow more important than if you get hit by a drunk driver. I mean, those kinds of silly descriptions of value, need to fade away. They need to be evolved out of our understanding. I guess that's the real point I'm making, is that all we need to do is to evolve the nonsense out of our descriptions of morality. And the truth will be sitting there looking at us. What's left will be the truth. And I think it's already built into our capacity to see. It's already out of the fog. So there's already enough information for us to see what the shape of things to come. The landscape, the moral landscape is visible now. And there's no more distractions and nonsense to trip over, to be blinded by. And the truth is that what's happening on planet Earth isn't a good thing. It's just a bunch of insipid ambition with a huge, trail of blood. It's just stupid. But anyway, that's another subject. But yeah, this evolution thing, like it can evolve anywhere, but to this grand conclusion that we are our projections of value are bullshit, and the real value is the thing we're ignoring too often. The suffering, that's real value. The ambition is bullshit. It's just the truth. And if the human race survives to become smarter, not dumber, it's a truth it's going to have to deal with. It's going to fall on it, fall over it. But it may never get there. And that's the irony of it, right? It'll be some lack of understanding of the value dynamic, the psychology that they'll, get hoist on their own intelligence petard kind of thing. Anyway, that's enough of a video. Thank you very much. Till next time and such. Whatever, just a video.